Previously on Deathwatch, the Puritanicals.
Ignis, call in Gracchus. We are extracting.
As your shield explodes off your arm, there is a familiar Plague Marine standing in front of you. The illusion of the Deathwatch colours he was originally wearing, now completely faded. Taking Barbas off his feet into the corner of the room where he collapses, unmoving. The Iron Warrior's servo-arm clamps down around your arm, ripping it from the socket, throwing your black-clad limb to the floor. Blood spurting as you stagger back, pain suppressants flooding your system, the only thing keeping you conscious. You guys have just boarded the Corvus Black Star with your two wounded compatriots. Both Konstantinos and Barbas are passed out. They are unconscious. Does anyone want to do anything? You are also in the Corvus Black Star with Watch Captain Barbarus.
Augus's first port of call is going to be to turn to Barbas. He wants to make sure that that lost hand isn't going to be causing him any infections or any lasting problems, and that it's primed and ready for some sort of grafting, whether that's bionic or synth.
Okay, well, let's give me a Medicaid check. Barbas is too badly wounded for any field medicine to help him.
So I guess August moves up to Barbas, makes the assessment this is not within his ability to assist with right now. He is stable, but cannot be helped in any way. So he's immediately then going to move over to Konstantinos, just to monitor, make sure that he's all well and good, that the Susan membrane is functioning normally, that there's nothing like a poison in there, because he encountered that Alpha Legionnaire that had the strange blade, and he just wants to make sure.
To recap Konstantinos' damage and the current state of Konstantinos, Konstantinos is missing most of his right shoulder and the entirety of his right arm, which has been recovered so the power armor can be repaired, but the two are detached, and reattaching them is impossible because his right arm is a twisted, crushed mess of metal and flesh.
Yeah, August is not going to attempt to undo a severing. He will instead just be trying to keep tabs on his vitals, monitor him for any toxins or poisons, or if there's anything going wrong.
Sala would like to exchange just a brief word with Watch Captain Barbarus, if that is possible.
That is absolutely possible, but first I think we're going to have another Medicare check in the background there.
Yep.
And now you can exchange your brief word as Zarek is doing that. You just basically look at the bloodied ruins remains of Konstantinos. You marvel that he is still alive, slap some clotting agent on his gaping arm socket and go, that's about all I can do.
Yeah.
What would Sala like to say? So, to recap, the Watch Captain did not answer on Vox communication. You can now see that is because his armor has been damaged by the explosion and his Vox unit is fried, and he is currently helmetless for that reason.
Sala's going to remove his helmet.
Watch Captain,
Yes?
the presence of the arch-enemy troubles me deeply.
The presence of the arch-enemy is an eternal constant in the war for the Imperium's survival. What if this particular instance troubles you?
I have cut down many who serve the god of excess, but to see worshippers of all of the dark powers fighting in unison is a rare and dire omen. I understand our duty is to cut down the Xenos, but such an enemy demands our full attention.
What would you have us do, Sala? Redirect the entirety of the Damocles Crusade efforts to hunt down 6 heretic Astartes? Your zeal is overcoming you, brother.
Sala's going to humbly just give him a nod and then just be silent.
Watch Captain Varus is going to place a hand on your shoulder.
I appreciate your concerns. They will be dealt with. But our attention is on the Tau for now. But we will keep an ever-vigilant eye, as we always must, for the arch-enemies of man. But we don't know who these Astartes are, these traitors. We cannot chase our tails when a massed conflict against this upstart Xenos race is unfolding before our very eyes.
I do not know what your experiences have shown you, Watch Captain, but even the smallest cut can fester when left unattended. Where chaos takes root, the desert wind will surely carry its taint further.
I would say that, in my experience, that is true of any untended to wound. But the duty of the Deathwatch is to prioritize the severest of wounds. And until we can properly assess this threat, we cannot act while such a gaping sore of the Tau Empire exists. They are the immediate peril.
Thank you for your words, Watch Captain.
And Sala's going to put his helmet back on.
Well, no, I'll go over to Watch Captain. Brother Captain,
Dima,
here is the recovered biophage canister, and I'm just going to go to hand it to him.
He'll take it, hang it from his belt. He sort of looks at it a moment before he places it on his belt, and you can very much see his expression is rather downcast.
I appreciate your efforts in this, Squad Ignis, but today was a defeat.
He just gives a big sigh.
We can afford precious few of those in the long vigil. I hope you all understand this.
Yes, Brother Captain. And Dima will just very affirmatively sort of turn around and sit back down, or go back to where he was.
I think this is when Augus's pain suppressants wear off. He strapped himself into one of the seats, locked his armor, and you can kind of see that he's faded out of consciousness and is kind of limply locked in his armor.
Watch Captain Varus looks over and goes, he looks over as your apothecary passes out from their wounds and just goes,
You are being rotated off the line. I assume there are no objections.
Garfield's head turns.
The Watch Captain stares at you.
All of us. Watch Captain.
All of you.
Garfield sort of looks at the 2 heavily wounded members of his squad, and also Konstantinos. Konstantinos is a bro, so he didn't get the same level of scorn. As Garfield sits down with a hump and starts picking away at his chainsword in detest. While still picking at his chainsword, Garfield will look up at the Watch Captain. Brother Captain.
Yes, Garfield.
Will we see more of these heretics? I believe we have met them before.
Almost certainly.
Why were they after the canisters?
I cannot say, but if I was to venture a theory, the only time I have ever seen multiple traitor legions working together is in the service of the Black Legion, the false war master Abaddon the Despoiler. They are likely gathering weapons for his aims. The biophage is a powerful weapon. Modified, it could be used against humans, Astartes, who knows. With 2 canisters missing, and the utter shit show that has been this operation on the Inquisitorial and Mechanicus side, the Deathwatch will likely sequester it within our private chambers for study, so that we may construct a defense should it be turned against us. Though that is still to be negotiated.
Indeed. It is a shame I could not slaughter the sorcerer, as I did last time.
You acquitted yourselves well against the heretics, brothers. I just wish I could have been there. Perhaps they would have provided more sport than this abomination.
He taps the Riptide's head at his belt.
A fine tree, Brother Captain.
I mostly retrieved it so that our artificers can study its ocular systems, which are clearly vastly superior to our own. but I would not call it a fine trophy. It was a weak beast.
Garthiel gives a nod as if he almost didn't get blasted to pieces by it, and agrees that it was weak.
With that, the Corvus Blackstar finally enters space, and you are once more quickly taken to the Lance of Penance. Immediately, the entire squad is put through debrief process. However, August, Dima, Barbus, and Constantinos have sustained such injuries that they must immediately go to the Apothecarium, leaving just Sala and Garthiel sat alone in the sort of debriefing and decontamination chamber. Watch Captain Barbarous has disappeared to heavens knows where, as you are never really sure of his location.
While we're waiting in this decontamination chamber, Garthiel will stand up and just sort of face Sala, and in his most disapproving tone, he'll twirl his mustache first. He'll look at Sala.
What happened in that building, Sala? One moment I was slaughtering the Xenos, the next you were getting your ass handed to you by those traitors.
Sala's just going to sort of stand up and meet Garthiel's eyes.
If you were there, the hell, you might have seen for yourself.
Garthiel will just sort of frown and just sort of, with his arms sort of doing an exaggerating, just like arms out wide, just like,
I was helping Watch Captain Varus, squad lead. I would hope that members of the Emperor's Angels would know how to handle themselves without an Assault Marine's help. I thought you all capable.
August and I defeated a Khorne Berserker. I cut the leg off a Chaos Sorcerer. What hubris of yours is there to think that the Watch Captain needed or wanted your help?
And I split a battlesuit in two before coming back and slaughtering that Alpha Legionnaire in one blow.
It's amazing how someone equipped with 2 chainswords and a jump pack could do it all so slowly.
It is amazing how quickly weaklings can fall.
I don't know if you noticed, brother. I'm still standing.
Garthiel will sort of smirk a bit before punching you square in the shoulder.
That's why you're reliable, Sala. At least you can hold up in a fight.
Sala's going to, like, smile back. And a genuine smile, not like a smirky, disgusting, like, snarky smile, like an actual smile. He's going to smile. He's going to wait till Garthiel sees him smile and acknowledges his smile sort of visually. And then he's going to stop smiling. He's going to look up to the sky or the ceiling, and he's just going to sigh and say,
"Oh, Emperor, why me?"
After a few hours in the decontamination chamber, you two are both left to go free, to return your requisitioned gear, and essentially catch some recovery time in the barracks. You have been stood down, you are still on training regime, as usual. However, you are not being actively assigned missions until your squad is recovered.
Garthiel would invite Sala to the fighting pits every now and then. But I think Garthiel, in the mission, he saw his weakness against sort of masses and hordes, and against being shot by railguns, and will go to the fighting pits in an attempt to amend that weakness.
I think Sala would occasionally join Brother Garthiel in the fighting pits, but not to spar. I think Sala's in a place right now where he is visually seeing him in the halls of the ship. You see a man who is a little bit worn down, but for the sake of having company, even if it is Brother Garthiel's, he would occasionally join him in the fighting pits for drills. But as per usual, Brother Sala is going to spend the lion's share of his time in the Reclusium, available to any and all of the squad, but that is where he's going to spend the majority of his time.
Dima, a day has passed and you are discharged from the Apothecarium.
Dima will arise like Dracula. On his way out, Dima would probably have a look at see how all the others still in bed are doing.
August is probably a bit frustrated, but August is pretty well recovered at this point, but is basically being kept in by the other apothecaries because August did take some rather critical damage and they need to make sure that he is okay. Konstantinos, who was, 24 hours ago, Konstantinos was basically on the brink of death, is now fine, is actively awake, and has a new bionic arm. Barbas is awake, but he is in the critical ward.
What does that even look like?
So where everyone else has kind of just got steel slabs, and they just go, you're in a Starties, deal with it. You're just going to be here and have clean medical access to you. Barbas is actually wired up to machines. Apothecaries are checking on him rather frequently. Medicus serfs are, tending to his wounds. He is basically just being pumped full of rejuvenant drugs, as his wounds are too major to close by themselves, even with Astartes healing. So he is fully in an intensive care unit. Needs round-the-clock observation, medical attention, and rest.
Okay, Dima will go over to the Reclusium.
Arriving at the Reclusium, you will indeed find Sala, as well as Chaplain Orla, and a couple serfs. The Chaplain is probably not engaging with Sala, but you would definitely catch the Chaplain glancing at Sala quite a lot.
Adima will, without saying a word to anyone, just sort of crouch down in front of the inevitable giant statue of the Emperor and just begin praying, muttering to himself. Would Sala hear me?
Sala wouldn't acknowledge Dima unless Dima actively sought Sala's conversation.
Both of you sit in quiet prayer next to each other, not talking.
Dima's would be more sort of itchy, sort of irritated, more rambly. It wouldn't be as nice as Sala's would be.
Less harmonic.
Yes.
More percussive.
Yeah, you can tell it's not the normal shtick.
But as you're both in prayer, the Chaplain is once again, you can catch him at the corner of his eye. He is looking at you. And, he's got a skull mask helmet on. August, you are discharged from the Apothecarium. It's strange to be on the other side of the healing tables, but hey, here's how it is. The moment you are essentially being discharged, a familiar figure would appear entering into the Apothecarium, and it is Watch Captain Varvarus.
Yeah, with the captain. Seems to be meet here again, but far better circumstances this time.
Yes. It is on a similar vein I wish to talk with you, though. Come with me.
He'll nod.
Yeah, he gestures for you to follow. Heading through the corridors and passageways of the Lance of Penance, the Watch Captain is leading you down a very strange route, esoteric even in its design. It feels like the corridors are shifting.
August is gonna perk up a bit. He will have a look around, a little perception test, if you will.
Yeah, go for it. Give me an awareness check. Going through these strange passageways, you will notice that they are very strange in design. Almost alien, almost archaeotech. They seem like a fusion of the two, almost. And you have just this strange, niggling paranoia settling over you the longer you stare at these strange stones. And Watch Captain Varvarus, catching you, examining them and looking around, will go,
Keep your attention on me. Where you are going is of the utmost secrecy. It is my personal chambers.
August bows his head, ducks his vision, keeps it focused on the sort of leg plates of the Watch Captain, keeping focused on the ground.
Steel your mind. The defenses employed around my inner sanctum are esoteric, to say the least.
That is saying the least.
As is oft said in the long vigil.
He chuckles to himself at the terrible joke. After what feels like a couple more hours, you finally arrive at a large, beautifully carved wooden door embossed with gold. There are 6 chapter symbols engraved into it. However, 4 of them have had black shrouds placed over them, obscuring them. The only ones that remain is the salamanders and the imperial fists. Before you have more time to examine them, Watch Captain Varvas pushes open the door, and inside is a black tile stone room of a octagonal design. One wall is given to a stained glass window with some kind of artificial fire burning behind it. The center of the room is given to a large black brazier. In front of the stained glass window is a large wooden desk. Behind that is a large Astarte-sized chair with two other Astarte-sized chairs on the other side of the desk. And all around you on the walls are tapestries, artifacts, heads of strange Xenos beasts. And it's a rather small room, but there it is. Watch Captain Varvas gestures to one of the seats. He goes, "Take a seat, August."
August will comply, but he's curious about the trophies. He wants to see if he can spot the Riptide's head among them.
You cannot at all. Would you like to examine any of the ones you do see?
I think August has learned his lesson. He doesn't want to look where he shouldn't at this particular moment.
Watch Captain Varvas walks around the desk, sort of shrugs his shoulders, reaches up and disengages his pauldrons from his armor.
"Damn blasted heavy things,"
He says he slowly lowers them to the ground.
"Don't you find them to be cumbersome at times?"
I can't say I have. There's something natural about them to me. Quite like my shield.
Yes. Now, you're probably wondering why I've brought you here.
Among other queries, yes.
I have brought you here for a drink.
And Watch Captain Varvas reaches down, pulls out a drawer, and pulls from it 2 tankards. One has a wolf beautifully carved into it, embossed with gems, and the other has a dragon. And he then also pulls out a very small keg, about the size of one of the pauldrons.
"This is Mjold. Have you had much truck with the Space Wolves?"
August kind of removes his helmet, getting a sniff of the air.
Nothing personal. I've heard of them. They are first founding, after all.
One of my original kill team was a Space Wolf. Upon the return of his remains to Fenris, their Jarl gifted me with a cask of Mjold, and said that, should I ever wish it to be replenished, he would facilitate as such. It was because I told him the story of how I and Heimval used to drink together of an eve after a mission. He gestures to the tankard and then gestures with the keg, offering you a drink.
August kind of setting his helmet down on the spare chair next to him, leads onto the table. He kind of sniffs a couple more times, trying to see if there's any particular chemical stink coming off of this thing.
It reeks of alcohol. Reeks really strongly of alcohol.
I'm never opposed to a test of my constitution, I suppose.
Watch Captain Varvas then pours you a extremely fizzy, extremely frothy, nose hair singeing scented beverage, and then pours one for himself. He then places the keg down and sits.
"August, you have become closed."
I don't think it's unreasonable, given the circumstances.
"I don't think it is either. However, it is a weakness. It is a problem within your squad."
One among many, but yes, I take ownership of my faults.
"Yes. Ignis is becoming fragmented. You are each skilled warriors with potential. You all have the capacity to excel in the Watch, but your personal divisions are breaking you down, and they will get you killed. I reviewed the recordings from your armor of your last missions. I was not pleased with what you, or Sala, or Garthiel said to each other. These are your brothers now, August, and I appreciate how hard it can be to find the kinship that you had with your home chapter amongst strangers. And I also appreciate that your very first attempts at making those connections ended in tragedy. But you cannot allow yourself to become closed off to the power of brotherhood. It is our greatest strength as Astartes. He sort of picks up his tankard, takes a draft, and then gestures for you to do the same.
August relinquishes, taking a draft of his own. Kind of, when it hits him, he kind of jostles, his neck kind of readjusting as he has to contend with what it is he's consuming. Seems incredibly novel to him.
It's a extremely acidic taste. It is not pleasant, but it is definitely having an effect on your senses almost immediately. But you have not consumed enough yet to warrant even the possibility of getting drunk as an Astartes.
August sighs when the first hit leaves him, as he's kind of a little lessened almost, thinking things through, thinking through what the watch captain said.
If you saw my armor feat, you would have seen also that I dove out into danger for Garthil's sake.
Indeed.
I may not like him, but I would die for the man.
The watch captain leans back, drumming his fingers on the desk.
I do not doubt you are a consummate professional. He glares at you.
He smirks.
But it is, how to put this, being a professional will not see you become great within the Deathwatch. There are lessons to be learned from each of your squad mates, from each of the chapters. Their way of war, their doctrine, their faults, their strengths, their customs. And he sort of gestures with his tankard. You would be surprised at the things you will learn if you become brothers and not professionals. And while I appreciate that it is you who have been scorned, Garthiel cannot help what he is. You can.
August kind of taking another sip, and he puts the cup down a bit more firmly this time.
On that matter, Watch Captain, was another of the queries I had for you. What is Garthil?
A weapon.
Oh, I got that. But you saw the helmet. You saw the helm feat.
I did.
What happened?
It is not my place to tell you of his chapter. However, he should have brought this up himself, and I will be speaking to him on this later. The Grim Warden's chapter are cursed. They suffer from a malediction known as the Grim Curse. When their ire boils too much, they drop dead. Soulless husks.
August is visibly taken aback.
Garthiel is a weapon with limited ammunition. That is the doom of his chapter. They can never be anything more. They can never be true Astartes. They are cursed to be a blade with a shelf life. I have been in the Watch for over 700 years, and I have never seen a Grim Warden live past 200. Garthiel will not return to his chapter. He will die in glory, or he will die a failure.
I see.
Takes a bit of a more hearty draught of his drink.
And that is why he is so standoffish.
He has a lot to prove, and little time to do it in.
I feel less intelligent. That should have been more obvious to me.
Now, I have been honest with you, and I want you to be honest with me. How are you dealing with the loss of your squad?
Sort of, unconsciously, one of his hands rests gently on the pommel of Silam.
It is more manageable than it had been, and it was not as bad as when I lost my captain. But I can't help but see patterns, stereotypes, archetypes repeating. It concerns me greatly.
Loss. It never gets easier, August. I have lost hundreds of brothers. Everyone I knew in my chapter is dead, and you will carry them with you always, and the burden will only get heavier. But you will get stronger. You will grow more fierce. and you will be able to walk with pride, knowing that you always carry the memories of those that you knew who are no longer with you. You carry their lessons, and you can apply them. If you are seeing patterns reoccurring, let the pain teach you and prevent that tragedy from happening again.
August nods, drinking a little bit deeper.
I was chosen to be a proclaimer, not an embalmer, but it seems that has changed for me.
You need to leave behind the ideas of your chapter on this regard, in my opinion. You are not a proclaimer, you are not an embalmer. You are a member of the Long Vigil. You are part of a new brotherhood, chosen because your old chapter did not fit you, because you were something more, and had the capacity to be something more, to be something great.
August offers a slightly forced smile.
If that is true, it will take time to accept.
Unfortunately, time is the one luxury the Deathwatch never seem to have. Do your best, August. The Watch will demand much of you. I believe you have the strength to meet it.
Aye, Captain. I will not be found wanting.
Good. Should you have need of me, navigate the corridors back. You are welcome to my inner sanctum. Do not lose yourself to grief, to pain.
I shall find you before it finds me.
Very good. You are dismissed. Leave the mug.
August smiles, finishes the last couple drops.
It's almost painful, damn it.
He puts the empty cup down and walks away.
August, you are back to the barracks after that interactions with the watch captain. Constantius, you are currently in the apothecarium, in the kind of light triage center. You are the only one remaining of the squad in this area. In the doors next door to you is the intensive care unit where Barbas is still under heavy observation, lying there just kind of unable to really do anything that he would normally do, rather badly wounded.
After you said it was about a day or two, right?
Yeah.
Konstantinos, due to the blessings of the Omnissiah, has made a very relatively quick healing and is back up onto his feet a lot sooner than his brother Barbas, who was in about the same boat but without the same blessings. Konstantinos is going to get up from his medical bed and make a move towards Barbas's room. His new arms still feeling a little bit unknown to him, a little bit different than what he was expecting, but Konstantinos is used to new cybernetics, unlike maybe some others in the party. He will go ahead and, I guess, give a knock to Barbas's room, or is there even a door?
There is a door, so yeah.
It's Konstantinos knocks. Brother Barbas, are you conscious and awake?
After like a long pause, you'll get back. I am not in the mood for visitors, brother. Your concern is noted.
Aye, brother. If you need a hand maintaining that heavy bolter las cannon of yours, you know where to find me.
At the hand comment, I am not sure I will be taking visits from you anytime soon, Konstantinos. Now away with thee.
Konstantinos will turn and return to his bed.
So, Dima, walking down the corridor, going to whatever inconvenient thing Dima does, will be intercepted by Garthiel, as while he's walking past just a sort of a generic barracks room that's empty, Garthiel will sort of come out of nowhere and just sort of push Dima into the room quite harshly with like a shove.
Can I help you?
As Garthiel will just sort of look at you with contempt.
You stole my kill back then. Why?
Your kill. It's pitiable you would call that limping half-dead beast a kill.
It is part of the hunt, Dima. When I am in one-to-one combat with a beast, you do not take the kill. You do not interrupt. It is dishonorable. It is disgraceful. It shows your single-minded nature.
You would speak to me of single-mindedness. Yet if Barbas were to raise the same points that you raised to me to you,
I would punch him, just as I did you.
attempted, but again, you speak of single-mindedness. Is that your one trick? Is that all you have? Learn to hunt as a group. I'll dumb it down for your terms. There's more to hunting than just an individual kill. We must learn at least a molecule of teamwork. And you speak of glory. Yet killing a half-dead beast is gloryful. I think not. I think you need to change your definition of glory, brother. Right now, the only thing you should feel is pity.
Gartha will sort of raise an eyebrow.
Pity? Me? Haha! It is clear you don't understand. It is clear you stole my glory. It may be half dead, but it was my kill. Teamwork? Barbas and I work together.
I don't think Barbas would see it that way.
Barbas is in the apothecarium. He has no word in this. It is between you and I, Dima.
What, so your teamwork was unspoken?
Is that not the norm? Back on my homeworld, Dima, we work together. We snare. One of us takes the kill, and we do not interrupt its final duel.
But by your own words and agreements just then, would our unspoken teamwork not abide by your chapter culture?
No. You took the killing blow. It was clear I was designated its slaughterer. You swooped in last second to take it like a vulture.
I was no vulture. I was simply repaying the same kindness that you showed me prior in that engagement.
There was no such case, cousin. Explain.
It seems your memory betrays you as well. No, back when I took a hit from some of those Kroots, I was lined up to slaughter them. But you jumped in as if to mock me.
You mean that wave, that horde of Kroot that rushed you and gutted you? That is no beast. That is but a horde, a multitude. That does not count as a hunt.
Well, perhaps this is the part where you learn to get what you give. You mocked me, so in return, I mocked you. Perhaps just so you can experience what it feels like.
What you and I did, cousin, was not the same.
To you, perhaps. But it felt the same, I'm sure.
Is that what constitutes a hunt on your homeworld?
We do not care for such primitive things as hunt.
Yet you are petty enough for this.
Take it as a learning experience, brother, that you cannot simply give and not get. Learn to respect the other squad members, their abilities, what they could do in certain situations and what they're good at, and not just drag them down to bring yourself up.
I respect them. You, however, I see nothing in you. Perhaps next time you struggle against a mass of enemies, I will leave you to your fate, and I will tell the others the same.
Well, do not expect me to call your name, like I didn't then. Dima would just sort of shoulder bump his way past Garfield at that point, as if walking through him.
The clang of ceramite on ceramite rings throughout the corridors of the Lance of Penance as you slam into each other in disgust and part ways. August, you are sat currently alone, reading a data slate in the squad barracks. It's a fairly Spartan room with 6 slots into the walls for as rest pods for the very rare occasions you guys need to sleep. Each bunk is very clearly identifiable. Garfield's is somehow covered in salt and dirt and rust, despite the fact that he never sleeps in there in his power armor. Barbas's has the sheets immaculately folded. Sala's has a bit of sand on it somehow. Each has a telltale sign of its occupant. August, you are alone. When in comes Sala.
Brother August, I am sorry. I ask that you stand witness for my weakness, for I must confide in someone before my mind breaks.
It is entirely appropriate, brother. I was going to ask you, anyway. How did things go, from how you saw it?
I don't think that's what I want to talk about, brother. I would turn to the chaplains, but they do not walk the path of the Martyr's Creed, and though you do not either, you, my brother, you know my world. I believe you understand the weight of the sun and the bite of the sand.
August puts down a dataset that he'd been perusing onto his cot and kind of stands up to meet Salah, to give him his full attention and faces him full on.
I'll hear you, brother. Make your confession, as you do before the Emperor.
This place is a dull blade in my grasp. I tire of wielding it. My brothers here are fractured, some strong, some weak. Their faith, it's uneven, like a dune half swept by the wind. I was torn from the sands of my home, from the heat that forged me, from the gold of my armor that once shone under the sun. And now I stand among warriors who do not know my ways, who do not feel the fire of the martyr's sacrifice in their veins. I was sent here to fight, not to temper the doubts of others.
I do understand you, brother. There is not a day passes that I don't dream of those pale trees. It has been a long time since I've seen my home, since I've seen one of my blood brothers. But our squad needs you. It needs all of us. You have something that I believe a number of our squad lack, and it's a degree of certainty. Barbus possesses it, he's Barbus. But you can wield it. Your faith guides you. It is a powerful force, brother, and I believe it is in the nature of religious chapters such as yourself to find it as a rock to cling to, but something also that is tested continually. What is this but yet another test?
I know they need me here. I know you need me here. I know the Emperor needs me here. But I long for the desert. I wish to stand before the creeping pyramid once more, to feel the sun scorch my skin as it did in my youth. I wish to hear the prayers of the nomads carried on the wind, listen to the battle drills of the Dune Guard veterans ringing like steel on stone. Can you picture it, Brother August? The finest squad of swordmasters in the entire solar segmentum, moving as one. I didn't realize just how much seeing those swords clash comforted the very essence of my being.
August chuckles at the claim of the greatest swordsman in the Segmentum Solar.
I do see it, brother. I truly do. But there is nothing for us to long for what is gone. These things are gone from us, at least for now, for likely at least a century, and most likely forever. It does not do well to sit on things that cannot be brought back. We must accept it. But I would be remiss if I did not admit my own failings, as I have failed to accept this also.
Thank you, August. You know, you would have made an exceptional Midas Saint. I know it carries little weight here, and it is likely that both you and I will be cut down before it could ever matter. But still, I hope that one day you stand before my chapter's High Chaplain, Artor the Pale. You do not match his skill. None do. He could carve through this entire ship as effortlessly as the wind carves through the desert. But in you, I see his spirit, and it reminds me of home.
August puts a hand on Salah's pauldron.
I appreciate that, brother. We will weather this storm. All of us. I will not allow any of us to die before it is our time. And our times will come, but not yet. Not while blood boils in my veins.
Pair of you hear a rumble from the doorway. The entire ship, Sala.
You just got caught.
I didn't see you there, Watch Captain.
Answer the question, Sala. The entire ship?
Sir, brother, I have seen you fight. You do not leave us wanting, but you are not the High Chaplain's match.
We will see. The watch captain is then going to nod at August and then go, Sala, with me.
Aye, Watch Captain.
August nods back to the watch captain, and before letting Salah go, says to him quite quickly,
When the time comes to speak of practicals, come find me again.
Salah will give it a firm nod and a smile in response.
Watch Captain Varus will kind of put a hand on Salah's shoulder, guarding him out down the corridor he wants him to head. But he turns back to August and goes, Do not make promises you cannot keep. They will make the grief stronger, should the worst come to pass, August.
And he's going to walk off. The watch captain guides Sala through the corridors of the Lance of Penance up until they reach the observation deck, where the stars of the Damocles sector, the stars of the Tau Empire, sparkle all around them. The Eye of Terror hanging in the distance, a fetid blight upon the sky.
Do you know where Muskin is from here, Sala?
The watch captain is looking up at the stars.
Approximately. Would you like me to point it out, brother?
Yes, if you would.
Sala raises his hand and his finger and points to an area that is about the same distance as the breadth of the Eye of Terror, again, to the southwest of it.
There. That's Muskin. It sits nicely on the border between the Segmentum Solar and the northern region.
And yet, it consumes all of your thoughts.
Many, indeed.
So distant it cannot even be seen. Why?
Can you see the Emperor from here, brother?
No.
But you can feel him.
No.
Well, I can. I do not need to see him or my home to know they are in my heart.
The watch captain sighs heavily and puts his fingers to his brow. And you can definitely hear him mumbling something about the goddamn ecclesiarchy.
Faith, and faith alone. Faith in the martyr, faith in the creed, faith in the emperor. This is what drives you, yes?
They are elements that drive me?
They're elements that isolate you and make you weak. I have been getting reports from the chaplain. Every day, every free moment, you sit alone in prayer, on missions. You attempt to play the liaison. You manipulate your brothers, whilst you sit back and make no connection with any save August. You believe yourself their superior, and I thought you a leader.
And he's going to put out his hand.
Give me the blade.
Sala's going to take a moment. Just, not a long moment, just, a clear and obvious moment. And he's going to draw Ignis Renatus. He's going to take a brief look at its long saber from hilt to tip, and he's going to place it in the watch captain's hand.
The watch captain's fist closes around the hilt, raises it up, looking at the blade.
You, Sala, are afflicted with a curse only those of the Deathwatch know. A longing for home. So strong and so powerful, it will consume you. It will get you killed. It will get your squad mates killed. Do you remember what I said to you when I gave you this blade?
How could I forget?
A blade cannot be reforged if there is no central piece, if there is no hole around which to rehammer the metals into one. Ignis lacks that hole, and you do not want to be it. Why?
You are mistaken, brother captain. You have long urged me to cast aside formality, so I shall. Brother August performed exceptionally. I understand you singling him out. If recognition is to be given, he has earned it. His insight is keen, seeing what others might overlook. Brother Constantinos must learn to speak with confidence. A warrior's voice could not be lost like grains of sand in the wind. And yes, brothers Dima and Barbas are stubborn, but their resolve is acceptable. The squad is imperfect, but like a blade on a wet stone, they are sharpening with each trial. Brother Garthiel, however, must be addressed. He is without question the most formidable warrior amongst us. I've seen his footwork, his cuts, his precision, and I know his blade would find me before mine found him. But strength without restraint is just destruction, blind to purpose. I urge you, do not cast judgment upon the whole when it is clear that one piece is truly broken and must be struck from the steel.
And what would you have me do with this broken piece? Return it to its chapter? Kill it? 'Cause a broken piece can be of no use. And thus a blade must fall on it, surely.
I know of the missions we sent sentient marines on. He is bound for self-destruction, and he will take just about anything along with him. Send him there. Send him somewhere to take something with him.
Never have I seen an Astartes of such integrity cast such black-hearted words of a brother not to that brother's face. On 3 occasions now, you have spoken ill of your brothers, behind their backs, with no honor. You want to see the broken piece of Squad Ignis, Sala? I suggest you look in the viewport. You are the one who curses with black words and a black heart. You are the one that snipes and jibes at their brothers, acting their superior. Garthiel is broken, but Garthiel is honest. Garthiel cannot help what he is. You can. What is your excuse? What is your excuse to insult Barbas after he performs heroism of bringing down a flyer and covering Gacchus? What then? Yes, he is coarse with his words. Yes, he is imperfect, but you insult and stain his honor. Yes, Garthiel is brash. Yes, Garthiel is brutal. He is unstable. That is his nature. And how do you respond to it? You belittle him to your brother. You cause division and strife. You stoke Augus's emotions against him. How are you not a break in the blade, Sala? By your own words.
Sala is still seething with rage, on sort of boiling on the surface, unable to really handle this criticism. Sala is going to almost stand to attention, look forward, like straight forward, and say,
I understand, Watch Captain. I have clearly failed you and my brothers. Perhaps it is time you sent me elsewhere.
Clear, and then as he says the word elsewhere, just as he says the word elsewhere, his eyes flicker back up from looking forward to meet Watch Captain Vivaris in the eyes as well, just as he says that one word.
Varvas sighs, turns half away from Sala, looking out into space, lowering Ignis Renatus to his side.
Do you know why you were sent to the Deathwatch, Sala?
I never thought to question it, brother. It is an honor.
Is it? To be daubed in black? To be assumed dead by your own chapter? To know you are never seeing your brothers again? Does that sound like an honor to you?
Sala is still sort of stood, like firm, stood to stand, at the moment, stood ready, very formally stood.
Do you feel honored, Sala?
If the Emperor or the Martyr wills my suffering in the stead of another's, then it is an honor.
And then, as he says that, his head, not just his eyes, his entire head will snap to Vivaris.
But no, brother, I do not feel it.
I have oft questioned it myself. The Deathwatch, an honor. The death sentence, an honor. It is a burden. It could be argued it is suffering. A necessary one. One that preserves the Imperium against the greatest threats mankind has seen. If you believe the Tau, the Eldar, Orcs, are what we are truly holding back, you are naive. I have seen beasts that can break an Astartes' mind like a twig, enslave worlds to their whims. I have slain my brothers to kill them, on more than one occasion. This is no honor, and it never will be. It is a burden, a duty. But I have known none sharper, none greater than those who have served in the Long Vigil. Iron sharpens iron, as you already said. I find it interesting that when your ire was sparked, you spoke in defense of your brothers who you slandered. At least one of them, anyway. Would you like to know why Garthiel is what he is?
Yes.
His chapter is cursed, doomed to die. I have yet to know one that has lived past 200. He has much to prove, and little time to prove it. His chapter is boorish, aggressive, and small-minded, and none of those are an excuse for his behavior. He will be dealt with, but neither he nor you will go on censure. We can ill afford it. I have a suspicion, Sala. The Deathwatch is not where a chapter sends its finest, but it's delinquents. It's oddballs. Those that do not fit the mold. But if there is something I have learned at a forge, it is that sometimes imperfections, weaknesses in a blade, when hammered, when truly forged, create blades that none could hope to wield but the finest warriors. Create weapons perfectly suited to slaying one foe, to stopping one killing blow. It is puzzling to me that you and Garthiel are so at odds when you are both the two who have raised the harshest words to your brothers. You are both swordsmen. You are both bound so strongly to your chapters. Even here, I have no easy fix to you or to Garthiel. We will speak again. Until then, he tosses Ignis Renatus back to you. Keep practicing.
Sala will catch the sword.
Hey, Barbarous here. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. And, well, you're probably wondering why this episode took a while to come out. And it's kind of hard to talk about, but I lost my job. I'm okay. It's been pretty hard. But I have to just say that an amazing thank you to the patrons. Your support has made this process a lot easier. I am okay. I have acquired other work. I'm now writing a bit for Astartes Anonymous. If you watch their Dreadnought video or their Space Marine Vehicles video, they were written by yours truly. And that's helping me to, keep off the streets, as well as the patrons. So again, just a huge thank you to the patrons. Like, you have no idea how much the support has meant, how much it's helped. Like, I've left my job with a lot more money in my pocket than I ever thought I would have in this situation, thanks to you guys, because I've just been saving up everything you've been donating. So again, really, thank you so much. The same to the one person who has donated via my Ko-fi. Thank you so much. That was it was nice just to have some treat money rather than money I was saving. So thank you. You bought me a pizza, and I appreciate that because I love pizza. So yeah, I just want to say an extra thanks to our new patron, Metric. And I do have to say, because of the new situation I'm in and the kind of uncertainty and everything that's happening, video releases will be going down to once a fortnight. I know that people would prefer more releases to less, but I just can't spend the time, and I need to focus elsewhere to make sure I have a stable income. If you want to rectify that, then please do support me on the Patreon. It'll really help. Yeah, I know, a little bit heavy, but there's that. We've got some extra special stuff in the pipeline though, so keep your eyes peeled. I haven't been just sat around doing nothing. I have been working on some stuff for the channel, and yeah, hopefully next time I've got a bunch of good news for you instead of a little bit of a bummer. But once again, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe and share this series with your friends. And until next time,
suffer not the alien to live.